with another Sound Off Extra here on the official YouTube channel for the Solomonster Sounds Off podcast. I am the Solomonster, and with me now, back for an encore. So nice we had to do it twice. Former WWE superstar JTG, Jason Paul, is on the line. JTG, how you been?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on the show again.
Oh, my pleasure. It's always a fun time having you on. Now, the last time we spoke, which was almost a year ago, you had just come out with your first ebook called Damn, Why Did I Write This Book?, which talked about how much heat you got during your WWE run. A lot of fun stories in there. Now you're back with the sequel, which is aptly titled Damn, Why Did I Write This Book 2? How to Play the Game, which is available right now for just $2.99. If you go to JTG's Twitter page, at JTG1284, click the PayHip link in his bio, and it'll take you to the order page. So let me ask you, did you get any heat from anyone for that first book?
For the first book? Yeah, I'm not going to name any names, but I definitely got heat for the first book by a few stars who thought it was them, because again, in the first book I didn't mention any names, but the ones who, so some of the fans were able to figure out who it was, and they attacked them on Twitter. You're such a bully. Why you do that why did you do that to JTG? And my Shad was at the gym, it was a couple of months ago, and he said, yo, somebody wants to talk to you. And I was like, wow. He's like, hey, man, I thought we were cool. I thought we were friends. Why you put that in the book? I just want to know that I still love you and blah, blah, blah. Like, I love you too. I respect you, but I have to tell it how it is.
That's funny. And it's funny, like, I was going to ask, what was the feedback like from your friends and some of your old colleagues in the WWE locker room?
Oh, one of my biggest fans who loved the book was Zack Ryder. He absolutely loved it. He read it the first day, and he called me to let me know that I got your book, and I finished it on the entire plane ride, and I absolutely love it. I'm going to tell all the boys to get it.
Now, what'd you think of him? Well, I mean, we're going to kind of jump back and forth here, but what'd you think of him having that big moment at WrestleMania and winning the Intercontinental title?
It's about time. I was so happy for him. I texted him immediately and told him, I'm so happy for you, man. Congratulations. He texted me back. He said, thanks, bro. And I watched Raw the other night because, of course, I'm definitely going to watch the Raw after WrestleMania. That's one of the best Raws to watch right after WrestleMania. European fans mixed in with the American, which I stated in my first book. And it was live. And for him to lose it so quick, I was like, man, I hope this storyline goes further. This plot thickens.
Well, I mean, as somebody who you know, I've watched him over the years, obviously. He's a Long Island guy. I don't live too far, I think, from where he probably still lives now. So it was cool to see him get that moment, even if it only was for one night.
Definitely deserved it, but I hope he gets a few more moments.
That would be nice. Now, one theme that carried over from the first book was your partner, Shad, saying and doing things to get heat, usually on himself.
To start a show.
just a little bit. Sometimes on you as well, though. What did he think of that first book?
He was just glad I kept it real. He got some tweets from some fans, and they couldn't believe that he did that. But I wrote it how I lived it, and he was cool with it. He actually encouraged me to write the second book. That's a good tag team partner.
I'd say so. So basically, he has nobody to blame but himself.
Pretty much.
Now, that one story you tell in the new book about your meeting up in Stamford, where Shad does all the talking, when you tell the finish of that story in the book, I literally laughed out loud. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, if the two of you ever end up back in WWE, they would be crazy not to give you guys a half-hour sitcom on the network. I just think it would be more entertaining than what we see on most Monday nights.
Oh, definitely. That's what. And Shad, like I said, stated at the end of the book, Shad did reach out to them, and that was one of the things that he pointed out. Like, you guys have the WWE Network now, and Jay and I have such good chemistry. If we had our reality show, and he was just pitching a whole bunch of stuff just to get us back. But if we did have a reality show, man, Shad would definitely get his own spinoff. He just needs to have a camera follow him around just to see the antics and the stuff that he gets into. It's ridiculous.
I just think it would be funny to see your reaction. You don't even have to speak. You could just kind of put
your
head in your
my facial reaction sells everything. Yeah. You definitely need me there to sell the reaction.
Every funny man needs a straight man, so that's why I think it would work so well.
Yeah.
So the book isn't just a collection of funny stories. I mean, it really does serve as sort of a how-to guide for aspiring wrestlers who either want to work for WWE or maybe they already do and they're new to the company. I mean, was that your goal here, to write something that would be helpful to them so that they don't have to go through some of the things that you and Shad did?
Absolutely. I was thinking about NXT Superstar. NXT is doing really well. So if I haven't watched any NXT episodes until Dallas, I saw the match between Sami Zayn and I don't know how to pronounce his name yet. Shinu, do you know who I'm talking about?
Nakamura. Just easier to call him Nakamura.
Nakamura, yeah, and that match was amazing. That was my first NXT match I ever seen in my entire life, and man, I was blown away. And I was definitely writing it for aspiring and NXT guys, so they don't go the same route that I did.
Yeah, and when you watch NXT, I mean, it almost seems like a completely different company. I mean, the way that the presentation and the way that's run as compared to what you see on the main roster. It's funny, they've taken some guys like a Tyson Kidd, who they weren't doing anything with, and they sent him down to NXT about a year and a half ago for a while, and he was just tearing it up because he was able to go out there and do stuff that he just wasn't being given the chance to do on the main roster. So when I think of some of those like lower card guys, I think even a guy like you, obviously you were with the company for 8 years, and those last few years they didn't have you doing anything. I think somebody like you could have gone down to NXT and probably did pretty well for yourself. Yeah,
well, but you're too short.
I guess so. Just missed.
That's a question. How was Alex Riley doing down there in NXT? Because I was a big Alex Riley fan. I saw a lot of potential in him. How was he doing adjusting to NXT?
Well, it's funny. He was doing announcing down there for a while, and he was pretty good. Because talking is one of his strong suits.
Yeah, he was a great promo artist.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they had him doing the announcing for a while, and I guess he just really badly wanted to get back in the ring. So over the last several months, they put him back in the ring. Then he got hurt. So he only came back really a couple of months ago, and he hasn't really been doing very well since. So I guess we'll see. The jury's out on whether or not it was a smart move to go from the announce booth back to the ring.
Okay. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Although the one thing I think he has going for him when he comes out now, he looks very much like a younger Triple H.
That's not good.
Well, it's not good. I thought maybe he was trying to endear himself to him, maybe. Well, talk a little bit about so-called power moves. Like, we'll pick one here. Pitching ideas to a writer. A lot of those guys, sitting in the back and catering, like you talk about, they're just waiting to get called on. They're not just sitting around collecting a paycheck. I mean, they're actively pitching ideas to writers or to Vince and Triple H, and more often than not, they fall on deaf ears. I mean, is that fair to say?
Oh, definitely. And it's how you pitch to the writers. They get 1,000 ideas and character ideas a day, emails. So it's how you go about doing it. You got to play the game. You got to have some game, and then you got to go in there and stand out.
Now, let's say you're caught, buttering up to one of the writers. I mean, wouldn't something like that get you heat if the other guy saw you doing that? It almost seems like a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation, or would they accept it because they know it's part of the game?
Well, they'll accept it on how you do it. If you're so obvious and blatant, if that like you're just kissing ass, then it's like, oh my gosh, look at JTG over there trying to. You put your lipstick on.
Right.
Jesus.
Now, one of the pitches you made for a potential character for yourself, there's a few that you name in the book, but one of them was using a foul-mouthed Muppet as your alter ego. What substance were you on when you came up with that idea, number one? And what was their reaction when you pitched it to them?
The first person I told about the idea was Vince, and he absolutely loved it. He was I was leaving promo class. I used to do a character in promo class called Self, and I would go back and forth talking to myself in an English accent. And I'll literally have Vince McMahon laughing while I'm cutting my promo. And I was like, how could I do this but not look too ridiculous? And they were trying to target me towards kids when I was going my singles route. They wanted me to be more kid friendly.
Right.
So I said, why not make it a Muppet? That's never been done before. And Vince outside the box ideas. So I thought that was really outside the box. I told Vince, I pitched to him, you can have a Muppet that looked exactly like me. He'll have a grill, braids, and kids will love it. Only the WWE universe could see it, and he could interact with only me in the WWE universe, and the other superstars would not even see him. And he was like, that's different. He loved it, and we started going from there. And then you'll see why it didn't happen in the first book, why it didn't come to pass.
Well, it's funny. It almost reminds me of the Little Jimmy stuff with R-Truth. Now, did that come after the time that you would have pitched that idea, or was the Little Jimmy thing before that?
That Little Jimmy came from my idea.
Oh, it did? Okay. Because that's what I was thinking, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, it definitely came from me, and yeah.
That's got to be frustrating. I mean, and I'm sure you're not the only one to go through that, but you're pitching
Oh no,
ideas and you think it's the greatest idea in the world, or at least it'll give you something to do, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks or a few months later, you see
it's
that
someone else.
right, somebody else has it. That's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, it's like that's the nature of the beast with WWE. A lot of superstars go through pitching ideas, and it goes to someone else. The original, what was it called? The Bray Wyatt's team. What do they call again?
Well,
Bray Wyatt,
the Wyatt family.
the Wyatt family. Yeah, that wasn't even supposed to be the original three. It was supposed to be somebody else, and the ideas got taken, and they left after that. They was just totally. It's like, I can't take it anymore, and they left. Ideas get taken. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, it worked out for Bray Wyatt and the rest of them, the NXT guys.
And you mentioned that you pitched the idea directly to Vince. Now Vince came up with a character of his own for you that you kind of started going down that road, and then it just kind of stopped.
Yeah, I don't know. I was because I did it with Tyson Kidd on a few superstars. They were for those who didn't read the book yet. Vince McMahon wanted me to be a Puff Daddy character, and he didn't give me too much details. I think I could have went a lot more. Like maybe I should have cut my hair then and be a little bit more Diddy-ish. But I kept my JTG swag a little bit, and I was bigger than the people I was managing. I was managing Tyson Kidd, and I'm Tyson Kidd is a great performer, but I'm a little bit bigger than him.
Right.
Managers are supposed to be smaller and downplay themselves.
Right. Well, referees too. I think they have that same mentality with the announcers and the referees. They don't want them towering over the talent.
Yeah.
Now, in the book, you also talk a lot about the ribbing that goes on off camera, I should say. And you tell this one great story about something that happened to you in the bathroom at the arena one night. Now, people can read that for themselves in the book because it's pretty funny. But share with us one of the better ribs you can remember from your time in WWE, whether it involves you directly or not.
I heard of this sick twisted rib. You can hear it down the grapevine. It's a few of them. Some of them is beyond rib. I don't know if you heard about this one, but Mr. Fuji, this one everybody knows about. Mr. Fuji, he gave somebody their own dog to eat.
I've heard that story, and I didn't know if it was urban legend or fact. I mean,
it's true.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, tell people who don't know. Tell people who don't know the story.
Mr. Fuji is a manager from back in the 80s, and I think he had heat with a certain talent. I can't remember who the talent was. I just remember that a dog was cut up and fed to the owner, and he didn't tell him till afterwards, and the guy was throwing up, and Mr. Fuji was laughing and couldn't even talk afterward because he was just laughing so much. I don't know how they didn't get into get to fighting after that, because someone feeds me a dog, you're getting effed up.
Well, I guess we now know where the whole pepper steak storyline with Al Snow and Bossman came from.
And there was another great ribber, Owen Hart. He was known to be a great ribber. He won Vince hates smoking, and one time Owen Hart, one of the midget wrestlers, was asking Owen, "Where's the smoking room at? Where can I go smoke?" And the guy didn't speak English too well, so he said, "Oh, go to somewhere where it says Vince's office." And he pointed to Vince's office, and when Vince opened his door, he saw a midget in his table smoking.
That's one of those only in pro wrestling stories.
Yeah, I don't know how Owen Hart kept the job after that.
Well, everyone tells stories about Owen Hart. Now, I mean, his weren't malicious, but it seems like he didn't hold back on anybody, whether it was Vince or one of the other boys, or everybody pretty much has an Owen Hart story to tell.
Oh yeah, and then the guy who I write about in my book, Armando Alejandro Estrada, he's got to be in the top 5 for top ribbers in WWE history.
Yeah, I think one of the things I took away from this second book was how vicious he went after you. Now, you guys are friends, just for those who don't know, but
yeah, definitely.
But he really just he let you have it. He was relentless.
Yeah, it wasn't until I talked to his little brother, me and him are the same age, that he said that he does the same thing to me. He rips the one that he loves. It's kind of like roasting. At the end of it, they said we only roast the ones that we love. In some sick, twisted way, it's their way of showing affection.
I think sick and twisted is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Now tell people what the closet is, because this is something I genuinely had never heard of this before you mentioned it. And when I saw that in the book, I kind of geeked out over it.
Oh yeah, I geeked about it when I heard about it myself. I didn't believe it. So the closet is a room in WWE headquarters. where it sounds too good to be true. Before you go in there, the WWE rep says, so this is the closet, and this is where we have 90% of all our merchandise, and if we don't have it here, we will find it for you and get it for you. And they literally have everything you could think of for merchandise: titles, shirts, books, souvenirs, replica, anything. And I was just, when I went into this room, I was like a kid in a candy store. And you could literally take anything you want. They'll put it in a box for you and ship it to your house. And the boxes these are huge boxes. And I probably got like 2 boxes sent to my house. Shad had 3 or 4, and the record for the and I said this in my book, and I'm waiting for a call from him. The record for the most boxes sent to their house was Elijah Burke, who's better known as the Pope in TNA.
So was it something like 8? I think 8 boxes.
8 boxes sent to his house. I'm like, he just overdid it. It's like, don't abuse the privilege, then they're gonna stop everybody from going to the closet.
Right, of course.
It only takes one to mess it up for everyone.
Now, do you remember, do you have any sense of what it was? I think you mentioned the $1 million belt you were going after, but do you remember any of the other items that you grabbed and put in the box?
I grabbed a lot of books. I grabbed Jerry the King Lawler's book. I read it. I already read it a couple of years ago, but I wanted to read it again, so I got a new book. I think I grabbed what book was it? It was another book. Grabbed a few books, some DVDs, souvenir DVD cases, like the whole SummerSlam kit from like 10 years.
Oh, sure, the anthology.
Yeah, the perfect. Yeah, I grabbed the WrestleMania one, a bunch of shirts and stuff for family.
Now that's different from the WWE warehouse where they keep all the props and the ring banners and stuff over the years, right? I mean, did you ever have a chance to visit the warehouse? Because it's like this mythical place you hear about.
No, I did not get a chance to go to the warehouse. That might have to be something that I visit. Not because I did hear about it for a quick second. You just reminded me of it. Yeah, I've never been to the warehouse, and that would be something I'll definitely be interested in going to.
Yeah, I would think any actual, I know you've been a fan since you were a kid. I think any longtime WWE fan would that's like the holy grail probably. Like, oh, hey, where's Papa Shango's voodoo stick and all that kind of stuff.
The old vintage WWF sign.
Oh, sure. Yeah, all that stuff. It's got to be in there somewhere. Now, when Raw expanded to 3 hours, one of the defenses of it, besides all the extra income it would bring in, was that it would be good for the lower card guys who never got any screen time on Raw. With 3 hours, now maybe they'll have a chance to be on TV more often, and I think to an extent that's happened. But I think one of the biggest negatives about the product right now is that 3-hour format. I just think it's too damn long. You were still there when they went to 3 hours. I want to get your opinion on that. Are you in favor of 3 hours every week, or do you think that Raw needs to be scaled back, even if that means some of those lower card guys don't get on the show as much?
When I was there, I thought it was hope. I thought it was an opportunity for us, the lower card guys, to get some time to shine and make a name for ourselves. And obviously, that was not the case. They just gave it more promo time and mic time and ring time to the top guys. And right now, with all this NXT talent going up, and they have a lot of good talent that's been called up on the road, hopefully they'll give it to those young, hungry talent who needs it. And we'll see, because the last Raw, there's a lot of NXT guys up there, and I see some potential.
So, but do you think the show is fine in its current format? I mean, you watch the show maybe not every week, but I'm sure
only if they give those NXT guys the platform they need to get over with the fans and be able to express their personality and creativity. Like when Nitro was on, wasn't it 3 hours? Nitro was 3 hours.
There was about a year where Nitro went 3 hours, and then they went back to 2.
Okay, they'll have the cruiserweights tear it up for the first hour,
yes,
and then that was great, and then they went on to other matches.
So basically, I mean, if they actually would handle it the right way, I think everybody would probably be pretty happy. You're probably asking for a lot, JTG. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, I'm asking for a lot. Yeah, so let's just go back to the 2 hours.
Right, exactly. I want to ask you about this, Titus ONeil. Speaking of ways to get heat, how well did you know him while you were in WWE, and what do you think of that whole situation? I mean, do you think it was handled the right way? I
have a cool relationship with Titus. I actually saw him a couple of months ago in the airport, and he told me he read my book and he loved it. And when I heard about the situation, that was a lot of people didn't understand it. And me being there for a while, I've seen this happen before, where he just took in extra liberties. So it wasn't a first time. It wasn't a first offense. If it was a first offense, 90 days would definitely be ridiculous. But this happened a couple of times before, so 60 days I think is the appropriate time.
So okay, so actually, so he had been in a situation before where he had done something similar and was either like warned about it or had been fined. I mean, I don't know that I had heard that had happened before. So to your knowledge, that had happened before?
Oh, it's definitely had happened. Something similar to that. Something similar to that has definitely happened before, and he's been warned. So when I heard about it, then I went and watched it on YouTube because I wasn't watching Raw. I'm like, yeah, that's a Titus move. Yeah.
Interesting.
And the 90 days was a lot though. Maybe 60.
Yeah, I think it was originally 90. They knocked it down to 60, but the big thing was either way he was going to miss WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting though. That
took his spot.
Yeah, well, I was kind of joking on Twitter during because I was at the show and I looked up and I saw Tatanka on the main screen. I said, "Oh, it looks like Tatanka took Titus ONeil's spot here in the Battle Royal." Well, that's interesting though. That gives a little bit of a different perspective on it. I want to get your thoughts. I saw you tweeting about it. Overall, what'd you think of WrestleMania this year?
It was all right. It was I wasn't expecting what I saw on Sunday. The ladder match they pulled it off great. We got a surprise, Zack Ryder. The women's match was great. New Day's entrance was what I was only looking forward to. New Day's entrance and Zack Ryder's gear. They both didn't let me down. What an entrance by New Day. Seeing Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley in the ring, that was great. Everything was going good. The women's match, oh my gosh, they tore it up. I think that was one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah, it may have been the best match of the night.
Yeah, it might have been the best match. I had to tweet respect to them. Sasha Banks liked my tweet.
Very cool. Very cool.
And also until the last match, the main event, like really, that's what you're gonna get. He's supposed to be the finish. What was supposed to stand out was him sparing Stephanie.
Yeah.
And winning the title was like, oh, what a huge letdown. It was like, oh.
Yeah, it was. I mean, as somebody who was there, it was very weak. I think that's a polite way to put it. I think, and not the best way to end a WrestleMania. But I think a lot of those lower card matches, like you said, like the IC ladder match, the women's match. I mean, they stole the show. I thought they tore it up.
Definitely, and let me know if this is true now, because you was there.
Sure.
Did you get a chance to watch it? Watch it on WWE Network? Or you was fine just with the live experience?
There's certain parts I've gone back and I have not watched the whole show, but I wanted to go back and watch part of the women's match. I watched the finish to the IC match and Shane jumping off the cell.
Okay, so there's rumors that some of the boos were lowered on the TV so he wouldn't sound like he was getting booed out the arena.
Yeah, I haven't gone back and watched the match on the network, but I've seen some clips that people have uploaded, like of Roman's entrance and then the beginning of the match, and it definitely sounded more loud as far as the boos in the building than it came across at least in the clips I saw. So it looks like they may have
dirty trick.
Yeah, there may have been some tricks going on there.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
If you got to do that, you should just know that shouldn't be the main event for the match.
Well, I think everybody knew that going in except the people who mattered. So, I want to get some info from you. I mean, what have you been up to lately, wrestling-wise, even non-wrestling-wise? I mean, aside from the new book, how's JTG keeping busy?
JTG is definitely busy. Auditioning. I'm back and forth between LA, Boston, and right now currently I'm in New York, working on a few projects. And also I got the writing bug. I'm getting a lot of good reviews and feedback for both my books. There's definitely I have a niche for comedy for that writing style. So I'm in the middle of a fiction book and I want to finish that. I started it and then I started working on Damn Right I Write This Book Too. So it's been on hold, but I think I'm gonna get back to that soon.
Well, the fiction book, I mean, do you have a sense of what that's about?
I think I'm gonna change the characters, but as of right now, it's a young girl who just graduated high school, and she has a near-death experience, and when she comes back from a near-death experience, she brings back a special ability where she has to control her thoughts, because whatever she focuses on for a little bit longer than a few seconds, it starts to manifest in reality. that's something that happens when I've watched a lot of near-death experiences on YouTube. They talk about how their thoughts in that dimension, it manifests quickly. That stood out to me, so I wanted to do a story on that.
Maybe we can get somebody who could think some positive thoughts about booking wrestling, and then maybe it'll become reality.
Let Triple H and Stephanie have a near-death experience.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope not. No. That's very cool. Again, the book is called Damn, Why Did I Write This Book Too? How to Play the Game. If you go to JTG's Twitter, which is at JTG1284, you'll see a PayHip link in his bio. Just click that. The book's only $2.99. I finished it on the plane ride out to Dallas, so thank you for that. So it's very entertaining. I enjoyed it, and I think everybody else will too. And is there anything else that you want to promote? Any other social media? Any way for people to kind of get a hold of you?
Oh, definitely. The book is also available on Google Play. It's also available on Amazon. And the physical copies of Damn Why Did I Write This Book Too, How to Play the Game, will be out next week. And if anybody who purchases the physical copy of the book, I'll be put in my P.O. box on Twitter, and I will autograph and personalize every book. But you just got to pay for the post to send it back, for me to send it back.
Oh, very cool. That's very nice. See, JTG is in tune with his fans. Well, JTG, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank you guys for your support of the Sound Off. You can check out our full episodes every Sunday on thesolomonster.com, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio. So until next time, be well, stay safe, and we will be back again real soon. Take care, guys.
Cheers.